The wind howled through the baobab trees, bending their ancient limbs like the fingers of a dying elder. Thunder cracked across the sky, not from clouds, but from the earth itself, deep, guttural, and pulsing like a heartbeat. In the heart of the forest, where the roots of the world tangled beneath the soil, two figures knelt before a stone altar slick with rain and blood. One, a young man with skin the color of midnight and eyes that flickered like firelight, clutched a drum between his knees. It was not like any drum the world had seen. Its hide was not from cow, goat, or antelope, but from something older, something that should not have been flayed. Its frame was carved from black ironwood, its edges inlaid with symbols that pulsed faintly, as if breathing. And from its hollow belly came a voice, low, ancient, and terrible. "You have woken me," it rumbled, the sound vibrating through the ground, through their bones. "But you do not know the price of my song." The girl beside him, her twin, her mirror, shivered. Her braids, once adorned with beads of cowrie and red clay, were matted with sweat and rain. Her hands trembled as she reached for the drum, her fingers brushing the edge of the hide. "We didn't wake you," she whispered. "You called us." The drum fell silent. Then, slowly, a single beat. Thoom. And the forest stilled. Not a bird sang. Not a leaf stirred. Even the rain seemed to pause mid-fall. "You are the ones," it said. "The children born beneath the twin moons. The ones who walked the path of silence and fire. You are the ones who will break the balance or restore it." The young man, Kofi, tightened his grip. "We only wanted to know the future, to save our village." "And so you shall," the drum replied. "But know this, the future is not a river to be crossed. It is a storm to be survived, and the first drop has already fallen." A flash of lightning split the sky, illuminating the altar, and the three figures standing behind them. Three elders, cloaked in ash-gray robes, their faces hidden beneath wide hats woven from dried reeds. They had not been there a moment before. One stepped forward, his voice like dry wind through a cave. "You have stolen what was not yours, children of Nkosi." Kofi rose slowly, shielding his sister, Amara. "We didn't steal it, it called to us, in our dreams, for months." The elder laughed, a sound like stones grinding. "The drum does not call, it hunts, and it has chosen you to carry its curse." Amara stood, her voice trembling but firm. "Then let it curse us. If it can save our people, I will bear it." Another elder raised a staff carved with the face of a hyena. "The last time the drum sang, the river turned to blood. The last time it spoke, the village of Mwamba burned for 7 days and 7 nights. The drum does not give, it takes, and now it will take you." The third elder, the smallest, stepped forward. Her eyes were milky, blind, yet she looked directly at them. "The drum sings only for twins, only for those born when the moon and the sun shared the sky, only for those who have already begun to hear the silence between heartbeats. You are not the first, but you may be the last." A low hum rose from the drum. The symbols on its frame glowed red. The earth trembled. And then, silence. The elders vanished like smoke. The twins stood alone, drenched, shivering, the drum between them pulsing with a slow, steady beat. Kofi looked at Amara. "We should go back. Tell the elders in the village. Tell them what we've done." Amara shook her head. "No, they'll lock us away. Or worse, they'll destroy the drum. But if it can tell the future, maybe it can tell us how to stop what's coming." Kofi hesitated. Then he nodded. "Then we ask it. One question." Amara placed her hands on the drum. "Tell us, what will happen to our village?" The drum inhaled. The air grew thick. The cymbals flared. And then, in a voice that was not one voice but many, ancestors, spirits, the wind itself, it spoke. "The river will dry. The crops will wither. The children will cough blood. And on the 7th moon, the sky will bleed. But there is a way, a path, a sacrifice. You must find the first drum, the one that was broken. You must gather the pieces from the 4 corners of the world, and you must play the song of return. But only one of you will return. Only one will survive to tell the tale." The twins stared at each other. Then the drum fell, silent. The forest exhaled, and the rain returned, harder than before. But how did it come to this? How did 2 children from a quiet village on the banks of the great Olua River, where the water shimmered like liquid jade and the air smelled of mangoes and smoke, find themselves kneeling before a cursed drum in the heart of the forbidden forest? The story begins not in thunder and blood, but in laughter and song. In the village of Nkosi, Where the sun rose over the river and painted the thatch roofs gold, life moved to the rhythm of the drum. Not that drum, the one that now whispered in the dark, but the drums of the people. The djembe that called the women to the market, the talking drum that mimicked voices across the hills, the kora that sang of love and war. In Nkosi, every day was a celebration. Every meal was a feast. Every child was a gift, and the twins, Kofi and Amara, were the most celebrated of all. Born on the night of the twin moons, when the full moon rose beside a crescent, a rare omen said to be blessed by the ancestors, they were named for the earth and the sky. Kofi, born on Friday for the day of rest and reflection. Amara, the one who will endure, for the strength of the baobab. Their mother, Neka, had died giving birth to them, and their father, Obi, a fisherman and storyteller, raised them with love and fire. From the moment they could walk, they were inseparable. They shared the same dreams. They finished each other's sentences. When one was sick, the other would lie awake, feeling the ache in their own bones. The elders called them Umuada, the children of the same soul. And they were different. Not in appearance, both tall, both with high cheekbones, dark eyes, and smiles that lit up the village, but in spirit. Kofi was quiet, thoughtful. He spent hours by the river carving small drums from fallen branches, listening to the wind, the water, the birds. He could mimic any sound, the cry of a heron, the rustle of a snake, the distant roll of thunder. The elders said he had the ear of the ancestors. Amara was bold, quick. She raced through the market, stealing mangoes from the stalls, and always replacing them with a smile. She climbed the tallest trees to watch the sun set. She argued with the elders, not out of disrespect, but because she believed truth should be spoken, even when it stung. She had the fire of the sun in her, but it was their bond that made them legendary. When Amara was 7, she fell into the river during a storm. Kofi, only 8, dove in after her, though he couldn't swim. He held her above water with one arm, kicking with the other, until a fisherman pulled them both out. The village said it was the ancestors who guided his feet through the current. When Kofi was 10, he fell from a baobab, breaking his leg. Amara sat by his side for 3 days, whispering stories, feeding him mango pulp, and singing the lullabies their mother had taught them. On the 4th morning, the bone had knitted. The healer said it was impossible. They were not just twins, they were one. And so, life in Nkosi flowed like the river, calm, deep, and full of life, until the dreams began. It started with Kofi. He would wake in the night, drenched in sweat, his heart pounding. In his dreams, he stood in a forest so dark the stars did not shine. A drum beat in the distance, slow and deep like the pulse of the world. And a voice, ancient, sorrowful, whispered, "Find me, before they do." He told Amara. She laughed at first. "You've been eating too many yams. Your dreams are too heavy." But then she began to dream, the same forest, the same drum. But in her dreams, she saw a village burning, children crying, a river running red, and a drum cracked and broken, lying in the ashes. "The first drum," the voice said, "the one that broke the sky. Find the pieces, before the silence returns." They told no one, not even their father, but the dreams grew stronger. They began to hear the drum when they were awake, faint, distant, like the echo of a heartbeat in the walls of their hut. It came at night, in the wind, in the creak of the roof, in the silence between their breaths. And then one day, the drum spoke. It was market day. The air was thick with the scent of roasting goat, ripe papaya, and the sharp tang of smoked fish. Women in bright Ankara fabrics bartered over yams and cassava. Children chased chickens through the dust. The talking drum announced the arrival of the chief's envoy from the north. Kofi and Amara sat by the riverbank watching the boats glide by. Kofi was carving a new drum, his fingers moving with practiced ease. Amara was weaving a crown of wildflowers. Then a sound. Not from the market, not from the river, from the forest. Thum! They froze. Louder, closer, his hands trembled. The wood slipped. The knife cut his palm. Amara gasped. "Did you hear that?" Kofi nodded, blood dripping into the dust. "It's calling." They looked at each other. No words were needed. They ran. Not toward the village, not toward safety, toward the forest. The elders had warned them for years. The forest beyond the river is not for children. It is the home of the adzi, the fireflies that drink blood. It is where the obanje, the spirits of restless children, wander. Do not go there. The ancestors do not protect you beyond the river. But the drum was calling, and they were answering. They ran through the tall grass, past the baobabs, into the thick jungle. Vines snagged at their clothes, monkeys shrieked, the air grew thick, hot, heavy with the smell of wet earth and something else, something metallic, like old blood, and the drum beat faster. Thum, thum, thum. They followed the sound, deeper and deeper, until they came to a clearing. At its center stood a stone altar, cracked and moss-covered, and on it, a drum. It was unlike any they had ever seen. Its frame was black ironwood, carved with spirals and serpents. Its hide was dark, almost purple, and it shimmered in the dappled light. Symbols glowed faintly along its rim, ancient Sibiti script, the writing of the spirits. Kofi stepped forward. This is it. Amara grabbed his arm. We shouldn't touch it. But the drum beat, and the symbols flared, and the voice came, not in their ears, but in their bones. You have come. Kofi dropped to his knees. We heard you. In our dreams. You are the ones, the twins of the twin moons, the last hope of the world. Amara stepped forward, her voice trembling. What do you mean? The world is out of balance. The river will dry, the crops will fail, the children will die, but I can show you the future. I can show you the way. Kofi looked at her. We want to save our village. Then play me, the drum said. One beat, one question. But know this, once I speak, the path is set, the storm is coming, and you must face it. They hesitated. Then together, they placed their hands on the drum. Kofi struck it once. Thum, the air cracked, the cymbals blazed, and the voice spoke. The river will dry in 7 days. The first child will cough blood on the third. The crops will wither by the moon. But there is a way. The first drum, the one that broke the world, was shattered into 4 pieces. Find them, gather them, play the song of return. But only one of you will survive the journey. Only one will carry the truth back to the village. Silence. Then the drum went still. The twins stared at each other. 7 days. 7 days to find the pieces of a broken drum that no one had seen for centuries. 7 days to save their people. And one of them, only one, would return. They ran back to the village, hearts pounding, minds racing. They told no one about the drum, but they told their father. Obi sat by the fire, his face lined with worry. He had seen the signs, the river lower than it should be, the fish fewer, the elders whispering in the shade. He listened as they spoke, of the dreams, the forest, the drum, the prophecy. When they finished, he was silent for a long time. Then he said, The drum you found, it is the Odu, the first drum, the one played by the first man when the world was young. It was broken when the sky cracked and the ancestors hid its pieces to keep the balance. To play it again is to risk the world. Kofi clenched his fists. But if we don't, the village will die. Obi sighed. The pieces are not easy to find. The first is buried beneath the great rock of the north, where the leopards roar. The second lies in the belly of the river, guarded by the Mami Wada, the water spirit. The third is in the cave of whispers, where the wind speaks in tongues. And the fourth is in the hands of the Abiku, the spirit of the unborn, who walks between worlds. Amara's eyes widened. The Abiku? The one who returns to the womb? Obi nodded. It is not a black child. It is a spirit that chooses to be born, only to die and return. It holds the last piece, and it does not give freely. Kofi looked at his father. Then we go, tonight. Obi stood. I will not stop you, but I will not help you. The ancestors have chosen you, but they have not chosen me to walk that path. I will stay. I will prepare the village. I will tell the elders to store food, to dig wells, to pray. He embraced them, one by one. If you return, I will be here. If not, I will tell your story, and the ancestors will remember. They left at dawn. With nothing but a knife, a water gourd, and the drum wrapped in cloth, they set out. Their first stop, the great rock of the north. It was a 3-day walk through the savannah, where the grass grew as tall as a man, and the sky stretched endlessly. Lions roared in the distance, vultures circled above. On the second night, they camped beneath an acacia tree. The wind howled. The drum, wrapped in cloth, beat faintly. Amara shivered. It's getting stronger. Kofi nodded. It wants the pieces. She looked at him. Do you think it's using us? Kofi was silent. Then, maybe, but if it saves the village, it doesn't matter. She reached for his hand. We'll find them, together. That night, they dreamed the same dream. They stood on a cliff, looking down at Nkosi. The village was burning. The river was dry, and a figure, tall, cloaked, with eyes like coals, walked through the flames carrying a drum. "Only one will return," the figure said, "and the other will become the price." They woke in a panic, but they kept walking. On the third day, they reached the great rock, a towering monolith of red stone split down the middle by a lightning strike centuries ago. The elders had said, "The leopards of the north are not like other leopards. They are the guardians of the ancestors. They do not eat meat, they eat fear." And as they approached, 3 leopards emerged from the rocks, massive, golden-eyed, their fur shimmering in the sun. They did not growl. They watched. Kofi stepped forward. "We seek the first piece, the one buried beneath the rock." One leopard stepped forward. Its voice was low, ancient. "You carry the Odu, but do you carry the heart of the seeker?" Amara stepped forward. "We do. Our village will die if we do not." The leopard studied them. Then it turned and roared, not in anger, but in a deep, resonant tone that shook the ground. The rock split wider, and from the crack a piece of the drum emerged, a curved shard of ironwood glowing faintly. Kofi reached for it. The leopard growled. "Take it. But know this, the path is not for the strong, it is for the willing." They took the piece, and the leopards vanished. They wrapped it in cloth and pressed on. Their next stop, the river. But not just any river. The Oluwa, their home, but now swollen and angry, its banks eroded, its waters dark. They stood at the edge. Kofi looked at Amara. "The Mami Wata guards the second piece. She does not like intruders." Amara smiled weakly. "Then we'll be polite." They waded in. The water was cold, deep, and thick with silt. Fish darted past, some normal, some with eyes too large, too knowing. They reached the center where the current pulled at their legs. And then the water parted. A woman rose from the depths. She was not human. Her skin shimmered like scales. Her hair was made of seaweed and pearls. Her eyes were black, endless. She wore a crown of coral and held a trident of bone. "You come for the peace," she said, her voice like waves crashing. "But the river does not give what is taken. It takes what is given." Kofi stepped forward. "We offer our silence. For one night, we will not speak, not a word." The Mamiwata tilted her head. "And what of the girl?" Amara stepped forward. "I offer my voice. I will sing for the river, every night until the moon is full." The spirit was silent. Then she smiled. "You have the heart of the ancestors, but the river is hungry. It has not eaten in years." She raised her trident, and the water rose. They were pulled under, not drowning, falling through the river, through the earth, into a cavern beneath the world. The walls were covered in carvings, of drums, of twins, of a sky bleeding, and in the center, on a pedestal of coral, lay the second piece. Amara reached for it. The Mamiwata's voice echoed. "Take it, but remember, the river remembers all, and it will collect its debt." They took the piece, and the cavern collapsed. They swam to the surface, gasping, clutching the shard. They had 2 pieces, 2 to go. They walked for days, through the savannah, into the hills, toward the Cave of Whispers. The wind grew colder, the air grew thinner, and the drum beat faster. On the 5th night, they reached the cave. It was not marked, not carved. It was simply a hole in the side of a cliff, hidden by thorny vines. But the wind spoke. "Turn back," it hissed. "The cave eats the curious." Kofi stepped forward. "We seek the third piece." The wind laughed. "And what will you offer?" Amara stepped beside him. "We offer a story, the story of our village, of our mother, of the twins who walked the path of silence and fire." The wind was silent. Then it whispered, "Enter, but do not listen to the whispers. Do not answer. Do not look behind you." They entered. The cave was dark, narrow, cold, and the whispers began. "You are not strong enough. You will fail. Your father will die before you return. The village will burn." Kofi clenched his jaw. "Don't listen." Amara nodded. "Keep walking." Deeper. The whispers grew louder. "She doesn't love you like you love her. He will leave you when the journey is done. You are not twins. You are rivals. You are enemies." Amara's breath caught. Kofi grabbed her hand. "They're lies." But the whispers knew. They knew their fears. They knew their doubts. They knew the secret Kofi had never told, that sometimes when Amara laughed with other boys, his heart ached. They knew the secret Amara had never said, that sometimes she resented Kofi for being the one who could hear the ancestors, the one the elders favored. The whispers fed on it. "You are not one, you are 2, and one must fall." They ran, faster. The cave twisted, turned, seemed to stretch endlessly. And then, light, a chamber. In the center, on a pedestal of stone, lay the third piece, but between them and it stood a figure, a man made of wind and shadow. "You have come far," he said, "but the third piece is not for the brave, it is for the pure. Who among you has never doubted the other?" Silence. Kofi looked at Amara. Amara looked at Kofi. Then, slowly, they both stepped forward. "We have doubted," Kofi said, "but we have also trusted. We have fought, but we have forgiven. We are not perfect, but we are together." The figure was silent. Then it bowed. The third piece rose into the air and floated into Kofi's hand. The whispers stopped. The cave opened. They emerged into the sunlight, hearts pounding. 3 pieces, 1 to go. But the final piece was not in a place. It was in a spirit. The abiku, the child who is born only to die, to return to the womb, to be born again. It was said to live in the space between worlds, in the dreams of the dying, in the silence of the unborn, in the breath before life. And it held the last piece. They walked for days, guided only by the drum's pulse, which grew stronger, louder, almost painful. On the 7th night, the night before the river was to dry, they reached a village on the edge of the world. It was empty, no people, no animals, only a single hut standing in the center of a circle of stones, and inside a cradle. In it, a baby, but not a baby. Its eyes were ancient, its skin was translucent. It did not cry, it watched. Kofi stepped forward. "We seek the last piece." The baby smiled. "I know why you are here." Its voice was not a baby's, it was the voice of time. "You wish to save your village, but the abiku does not give. It takes, and it takes what cannot be returned." Amara stepped forward. "What do you want?" The baby looked at them. "One of you must stay, one must take my place. One must be born, only to die, only to return. The cycle must continue." Silence. Then Kofi said, "I will stay." Amara turned. "No, I will." The baby laughed. "You cannot both stay. One must go, one must return. The balance must be kept." Kofi looked at Amara. "You're stronger. You'll save the village better than I could." Amara grabbed his shoulders. "No, we're twins. We're one. I won't let you," Kofi smiled. "We've always been one, Amara, but the world needs you more. Tell the story. Save the village. And when you hear the drum beat, remember me." He turned to the baby. "I will take your place." The baby nodded, and the world shattered. A flash of light, a scream, not of pain, but of release. When Amara opened her eyes, she was alone. The hut was gone. The cradle was empty, and in her hands the 4th piece. She ran. Back to the forest, back to the altar, back to the drum. She placed the 4 pieces around it. They moved. They fit. They sealed. The drum was whole, and it beat. Thum. The cymbals blazed, and the voice came. "You have gathered the pieces. Now, play the song of return. But know this, the song will open the sky. It will restore the river. It will save the village. But it will also release what was sealed. The storm will come, and you must face it." Amara placed her hands on the drum. She struck it once. Thum. The sky cracked. Lightning split the clouds. The drum sang, not in words, but in sound, in memory, in ancestors. She played the song of the twins, the song of the river, the song of the village, and the song of Kofi. The earth trembled. The river rose. Water gushed from the ground, filling the cracked banks, flowing strong and clear. The crops grew. The children stopped coughing. The sky cleared. The village was saved. But the drum was not done. It beat again. And from the forest the elders emerged, the 3 in ash-gray robes, their faces hidden, and behind them a figure, tall, cloaked, with eyes like coals, and in his hands a drum. The same drum. Amara stepped back. "Who are you?" The figure removed his hood. It was Kofi. But not Kofi. His eyes were not his own. His voice was not his own. "I am the abiku," he said. "And I am Kofi. And I am the price." Amara screamed. "No, you're alive." "I am alive," he said. "But I am also the cycle. I am the one who returns. And now I must go back. The balance is restored. But the storm is not over. The drum has been played, and the world will remember." He placed the drum on the altar, and the elders began to chant, a low, ancient song. Kofi, or the abiku, looked at Amara one last time. "Tell them," he whispered. "Tell them the truth, not just of the drum, but of the sacrifice, of the twin who stayed, of the love that saved the world. And tell them this, the future is not written, it is chosen, and sometimes the bravest choice is to let go." He stepped into the forest and vanished. The elders bowed and disappeared. Amara stood alone. The drum was silent. The village was saved. but she wept. For days she wandered. She returned to Nkosi. The river was full, the children were healthy, the crops were lush, the elders welcomed her. But when she told them the truth of the drum, of the pieces of Kofi, they did not believe her. Twins are one, the chief said, but one cannot live without the other. It is against the ancestors. She showed them the drum, but it was silent. No voice, no beat, no power. They called it a trick, a dream, a child's tale. She was sent to the healer, for madness, for grief, for speaking of things that should not be spoken. But she did not stop. Every night she went to the riverbank. She carved a new drum, and she played the song of return. And sometimes, just sometimes, she heard a beat, not from her drum, but from the earth. From the wind, from the silence between heartbeats. And she knew. Kofi was not gone. He was everywhere, in the river, in the wind, in the drum, in the love that binds twins. Years passed. Amara grew old. She became a storyteller. She traveled from village to village, telling the tale of the twins who found the drum that spoke the future. And always at the end she said, "The future is not a storm to be survived. It is a choice to be made. And the greatest choice is not to fight the world, but to love it, even when it takes what you hold most dear. For love does not die, it returns, like the river, like the twin moon, like the drum that beats in the silence." And when children asked, "Did Kofi really become the Abiku?" she would smile and say, "The Abiku is not a spirit. The Abiku is sacrifice. It is the part of us that gives up everything for the ones we love. And in that giving, we do not die. We live on, in the stories, in the songs, in the hearts of those who remember." And the wind would carry her words to the next village, to the next generation, to the next twin moon. And on that night, when the full moon rose beside the crescent, the river would shimmer, the drums would beat, and somewhere in the silence between heartbeats, a single drum would answer, Thum. And the ancestors would listen, and the world would remember. So remember this, child of the earth and sky, the future is not written in the stars, it is carved in the heart, and the bravest act is not to fight the storm, but to dance in the rain. And if you hear the drum calling, follow it, but carry your love with you, for it is the only thing that will bring you home. Subscribe to African Haven Tales, where the ancestors speak, the drums remember, and every story carries the soul of the continent.